Evening, guys. How are we? Good to see you all. Can I just get a thumbs up or acknowledgement from someone that you can hear me on this call, guys, before we get started? Excellent. Thanks, Oliver. Thanks, Kayla. Thank you, everyone. We'll kick things off in a couple of minutes, guys. So again, guys, we'll just kick things off in a couple more minutes. Just looking to see if we get any some late post 7 p.m. attendees come through. We'll kick things off shortly, guys. Okay, guys, so we'll kick things off. Again, if you're unable to hear us any course of the evening, just feel free to pop a comment in the chat box, guys, and we'll look to get it rectified. Guys, thank you for giving up your time and busy schedules, obviously, as we're heading in towards the PVL season, another bumper year, no doubt, for both PVL and JPVL. So we do appreciate you giving up your time to be part of the call this evening. For those of you who may not be familiar with me, my name is David Stokes, Club Services Coordinator at VQ. To my right is Shane Clouston, who's the Chief Referee for PVL and also the final series for JPVL. And then just on the other side of me there is Kent Scotney, the PVL Competition Manager. So just as a bit of a overview, guys, this obviously come out through the PVL memo and Facebook advice as well. We'll just give you a quick run through of the agenda, just to bring up to speed with key items that we're looking to go through tonight. Okay, so before I pass you to Shane, just take a couple of moments to look through the agenda there, guys. The key focus on tonight is all about expectations on also the referees, referee supervisors, the chief referee. In terms of the referees nominated, that's coming through our submission list as well. So thank you to the clubs, to all clubs who've done a great job in providing your first referee list for Premier and Div 1. There'll be a couple of pieces on accreditation and eligibility as well, if there's any FAQs in that particular space, rostering and feedback. So Shane will take the lead on these particular items. Special rounds, themed rounds, those type of things. So I'll certainly provide some advice in regards to both the multicultural round taking place throughout the PVL season, the Pride rounds, and also our match of the day rounds, which we're super excited about. First time that we're doing this for this particular season, so extremely excited to do 4 match of the day rounds on the show court at Nissan Arena. Shane will also provide some really key reminders for each role, i.e. line judge, i.e. second ref, i.e. first ref. On observations from last season, it's all about being as best prepared as you can before the match starts. I think we'll all agree. The better prepared you are, the better position you will be in as the matches go along, and obviously throughout the season as well. And then also Shane will take the lead on providing a summary of updated / new rules, FIVB, that will apply to PVL for this season. And again, there'll be plenty of opportunity for the all the punters on the call tonight to fire away with questions that you may have. And then also the end-to-end process for complaints or issues that you may have or you may encounter within your team or from another team throughout the course of the season. So without further ado, guys, I'll pass you over to Shane, who will lead for the next piece of the meeting, and we will keep going from there. Please, oh yeah, excellent. Sorry, guys, I'm just jumping to the chat. Just as a reminder, guys, if we can all just keep our microphones on mute. If you do wish to speak at any time, of course, unmute your microphone, but just the best practice so everyone can get clear audio on our end. We just kindly ask, guys, that everyone has their microphones on mute throughout the call. Shane, over to you, mate.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. There's a lot of expectations put on us as referees. I mean, all of us here have been at the time playing at some stage, and now we have to, for our duty, as part of the requirement for competition, we have to do duty on matches. So we've got to stop playing and we've got to become referees. So what is always expected of referees is that they are always come across as being professional. A lot of the times here, it's about being professional is just about the image. You know, simple things like arriving on time before the protocol. A number of times you have a referee who sort of just shows up 1 minute, 30 seconds before a game. You know, as a player, I don't have much faith that they're really switched on and they're going to do their job. They've already got their mind somewhere else. They haven't switched on there. Remember too, that your private conversations, not necessarily that private in a hall. Okay, so if you got something to say, you know, you're talking to your second ref or you're the second ref talking to the first referee, something that's happening or something that's occurred on the game, just be aware of that. And how you organize and work with your duty team. So as a first referee, you are responsible for your duty team. Your duty team is a reflection on not only you and the second referee, but as your club. Okay, so it's kind of important that as a first referee, or even if you're just acting as a second referee, your first referee is sort of organizing something else, you're helping each other to get organized, get your duty team together. Now, another thing that's expected of the referees throughout the season is your ability to communicate. So you will be given appointments. Don't assume that we know that you got the appointment. Acknowledge the receipt of the appointment. And I'm not going to be too worried how you acknowledge that. You can send it by text message or messenger or even an email, but just acknowledge the receipt of that appointment. We do not want two teams to be standing around on court and with about 3 or 4 duty members and people saying, well, where's the ref? You know, that's a sign to it. If you're sick, injured, running late, just communicate that so we can manage your match for you. As brought on for the last few years, we're just reminding you about being in uniform, okay? It's all about the look. It does help you look a bit more professional, more switched on. But in order for BQ, it's one of their requirements. It's just one of the characteristics for them to be paying you for your match is that you are in uniform. If you're not in uniform, it's quite simple. It's noted down in the by the referee supervisor, the venue manager at the court, and when I have to go through and tick yes that you've done that appointment and yes you've met all the simple little requirements and there's no major issues or anything like that, then yeah, so I can process your payment. No uniform, no payment. For some people, that's their petrol money. So. Okay. Another expectation, strangely enough, we're expected to have knowledge of the rules, okay? Really strong knowledge, particularly those who are refereeing the Premier divisions, and to understand how to apply those rules. Okay, if you don't know or you're just a bit unsure, first off, ask your referee supervisor at that venue that you're at. You can hit me up or whoever's acting as chief referee at the time. Here you can go to the QVRC Facebook page, throw a question up there because the question you're asking, somebody else may be too scared to ask. So it's not a bad place to sort of throw that up there and get a bit of feedback. Hit up other experienced or senior referees. And like I said, for me, and that I don't mind if I receive an email, a text, or a message about something where you're a bit unsure, okay? You're not out there alone. I'm here to try and help you guys and just use the knowledge, okay? Sometimes the rules are so poorly written for some that they can't understand it properly. And so, yeah, let us try and help you explain the rule so you can understand to apply it properly. You got to be impartial. That's pretty simple. Be approachable, be organized. Again, I'm just going to emphasize that one. For a change, have your own refereeing kit. Don't hit the referee supervisor up or the venue manager up for a whistle like this, particularly in the current health environment. Try and have your own whistle. Get your own little cost kit. Paper, scissors, rocks. Let's try and look at, particularly for the Premier referees, the ones who are doing the Premier grade, let's step it up a little bit and just do the simple things. You know, 20-cent coin, 50-cent coin. Sure, you got something in there. So going back and just being professional, okay. As a player, you know, I kind of like the referee to be focused on what I'm doing and have their attention on the game, not thinking about their dinner. And so with the same sort of amount of respect as the referee, give them the same respect you would want from them to give to you as a player. And another thing is all of you, a fair majority of you are very experienced as players. So use that knowledge and experience. That will help you make that proper application of the rule. Clubs. Well, there are expectations on clubs. Some of the expectations were met a little bit late today, but and that was, and I'll be very blunt, you know, last minute sort of nomination of referees right up until about 4 or 5 o'clock today. Look, from clubs, I'm looking, and it's my job to sort of have a chat to the clubs and work with them throughout the season to help and support you as referees, okay? Particularly those clubs who've only nominated 1 referee. I can think of about 3 at the moment for either Premier Division and 2 in Division 1, okay? The fact that that one person there might fall ill, okay, or maybe hurt or, you know, may otherwise be indisposed or something like that. What has the club got to sort of back those persons up? Particularly for the Premier ones where the expectation on the referee and the Division 1 referees is quite high. Okay, The other thing that we would be expecting from the clubs is to give you support, okay? Particularly if some players or spectators are a wee bit go off the tangent, go outside of the rules or what we would say is acceptable for sportsmanlike conduct, okay? We would expect the clubs to support the referee and help them move from that. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to let some people in. Okay. Done. Cool. Okay. Right. Another expectation of the clubs, make sure you've got a full duty team. As Kent will attest, fines are imposed. Okay. You got to have at least 5 members for duty near the scorer's bench at the time you're doing the coin toss. After that, it's noted by the venue managers or even the referee supervisors, but predominantly the venue managers, whether or not you've got 2 or 3 members, you know, on the other side of the coin toss closer to the start of the match. It's not worth the money. Okay. There will be referee supervisors at each venue, and they will be, you will see the roster for that in your weekly memo. That comes out to the clubs. The clubs will help distribute that information. A venue manager at each venue will help you. And in your roster that will be submitted, you will be aware of the referee supervisors for each venue. So that will be communicated to you when you receive your roster. All right, but the expectations on them, the first and foremost is that they are there to help you. Okay, they are there to help you improve your referee. Okay, it's good that you go to training and you sharpen your skills as a player and maybe even sharpen your communication as a coach. But here, these people are out to help you communicate without words as a referee. Okay, their other job is to say that the match officials are fit for duty. Basically, if we think someone's a little intoxicated, a little hungover, or maybe just not competent, okay, then it's their responsibility to remove that official. It's not fair to the players. If there is some issue that's going on personally with an individual referee, well, hopefully, maybe the referee supervisor, or the club, or some other way we can help you out. Okay, they're also there to help the duty teams when required, particularly towards the end of the match, helping with the review of the score sheets. They will work on the spot protest resolution. Now, they will implement that. If you're the first referee, if an on-spot protest has been sort of called, okay, that will be communicated to the second referee via the team or the coach that is making the protest. What you do then, that second referee will inform the first referee there's a protest. First referee, what you do, just step down from the stand and go wait by the pole where the second referee stands and wait for the referee supervisor to decide whether or not it's valid. The reason I'm asking you to step down out of the stand and go down and stand on the pole is that it allows that process to come through. A play won't continue or people won't believe. It also means that the teams truly understand that there's some issue going on and that it's being resolved. So that will be processed through. That will be communicated a lot more to the referee supervisors. They will manage that for you. Okay, and they'll give you feedback if you ask for it. Okay. Sometimes they'll give you feedback unsolicited as well. If they see something that they feel can improve your game as a referee, then they will come forward and they will say something to you. Now, expectations on me. Well, basically, you guys are a reflection of what I am. I'm responsible for your appointment, your attendance, and your performance. So if you don't show up to a game, not only does that reflect badly on you, that reflects badly on me. If you're for want of a better referee. An incompetent referee, well, that's your performance. That also reflects on me because I'm not doing the job right. I'm not putting an incompetent referee up on that match. Okay? And for your appointment, if I've stuffed up your appointment, like majority of you referees out there are going for duty teams and wanting to referee only on duties. If I've gone and stuffed up and I've put you on a court when another court, when you have a game on another court at another time, well, that's a reflection on me not being able to be very clear in sort of communicating with you about what your needs and your wants are. Okay. Also, I'm there to talk to the PBL clubs about the match officials. So I talk to them about your performance or whether they're developing you or developing other officials. Like I said, pointed out earlier, there's about 3 clubs that I only got 1 match official. So I'm going to have to communicate with them in the coming weeks about how they're going to fill that gap. Okay, what's their backup plan? Okay. Now, I'm going to put out a referee roster. That will come out every memo, with every memo. But this year, going forward, that referee roster is not just going to come out weekly. You, as referees, are going to get a 3-week look ahead. Not after the first round, barring the first round, from rounds 2 right up to the 4th. You can understand what you're doing for the 3 rounds coming up, okay? And that will come out in every weekly memo. So you have a 3-week look ahead. You can plan your life. So if you need to go down and go to a barbecue on the Sunday afternoon, if you're lucky, then, you know, at least you know you'll be able to do it and you're not rostered on for a game. I'm also there. I have to confirm your accreditation. For those particularly with games that are on people who are under the age of 18, I've got to look at the blue cards and I've got to assess your competency. That one I'll be relying on referee supervisors, but I'll be going from venue to venue and I'll be talking to you individually. Hey, when you ask for an assessment, there's quite a few level 2 candidates in the nominated referee list. Well, they'll be asking for assessments. So when they ask, I will try, that's my job to try and get them scheduled when they request it. Okay. So basically, I'm here to help you guys and to help the referee supervisors do the job. And if I do that well, then PBL should run smoothly. The only thing that should really be scored is points. For this year, as of 5 o'clock today, 94% of the referees that are nominated are all players, which means for the majority of the season, a lot of you are going to get rostered onto your primary duties. There is only one club that was smart enough to nominate that, okay, to really clearly state that that's what they really wanted. 6% of their referees are coaches, who again will have to understand about that. There are no non-playing independent referees in the nominated list from any of the clubs. Okay, I will, that's my little mission here, is to go out and find some of those non-playing independent referees. That's to help back you up if you get sick or you get injured or your club only has, you know, a limited number of reps. If some of you, and this goes to say, I would say 30 to 40% of the people who are nominated by clubs, they need to check their accreditation and their eligibility. Okay, there are some people who are listed as level 2s, who are listed on the Volleyball Australia site as level 3s. There are some who are listed as level 2s, who are also listed on the VA database as level 1s. So the way the new system works is that the emphasis is placed on the individual to check and look after their accreditation. I'm asking you sometime within the next week to go to the VQ website, click on that tab for referee and go to this page. You'll see it pop up. And down below, right at the bottom of that slide, you see this thing that in purple sort of font that says VA Accreditation Portal. Okay. When you click on that portal, you should get something that comes up like this screen. Okay. Now, if you've never logged in before, okay, you can just click on register. Okay, that's up there next to the home between coach accreditation and register. If you do that, it will take you to a page where it'll ask you if you're a new member or if you're a returning member. Click on the new member, fill in the details. It's pretty simple. I'll give you a username. If one hasn't already been sent to you in an email from Volleyball Australia saying that you have VQ membership to their portal. And then you should, after a while, get to a page that looks like this. At the moment, if you get to that page, it won't be very well populated. You'll just have your name, the date that you were sort of put into play, and it'll talk about your accreditation. If you go and click on the tab that says accreditations, you'll find out what Volleyball Australia has listed as your current accreditation as a referee. This is no longer managed from 2022, managed by VQ. This is all managed by VA. They are just using the VQ website as another access point for their portal. And the emphasis is back on us as individuals to look after our accreditation. This works for coaches as well as referees. I do understand that some people might not have received that email. Okay, those emails were sent out mid-January, right up to the end of February. So it may even have gone to your spam, you may have missed it. If that's the case, well, like I said, just click in there, register, become a member. If you're a member of VQ, as you all are, if you want to play on Sunday, then yeah, you should be able to get through, just get a new password and you go. As I mentioned, rostering for round one will be presented as 1 week only. Because the following weekend we have Chalice. So that actually gives me a little bit of a time to check up all your accreditations in there. So that's just me being a wee bit slack. Okay, I'll admit to that. Rostering for the remaining rounds all the way up to the finals, or when the finals begin, will be as a 3-week roster. That's what you will receive. Okay, it will be updated and it will be sent out as memos to the clubs. Form part of their weekly information. So the clubs do understand who's refereeing for them. Initially, it will come out as an email, but after a wee while, I'm looking to look at some refereeing sort of scheduling that will give us a bit more flexibility, such that you can get this information more direct, okay, via messenger, via a text message to your phone or something like that. And such that you can just respond automatically and say, yep, I accept that appointment, or no, Shane, I don't like it, I don't accept it, okay? And at least then I'll get the feedback straight away. Right. Those who are rostered on, okay, given the number, and this is particularly to those who are nominated for Division 1, right? There are a lot of Division 1 referees. More than there are games for them on the week base. It is your responsibility to inform us, right? The referee supervisor for the venue that you are rostered to, or myself, if you're either running late, you're sick, you're other injured, or otherwise indisposed. That's for those who are, yeah, maybe in the lockup. A text message or a Facebook message 5-10 minutes before a match, it's not acceptable. And I will have a chat to you. And I'm not afraid to have a chat to anyone about that. Okay. It's really unfair on the teams and it's really unfair on the rest of your duty team. Okay. Even if it's your duty team member who comes up and talks to the referee supervisor and talks to you. In your roster, you will have the contact numbers for the referee supervisor of your venue. Feedback, that's going to be organized when you guys request it. A lot of the time, you'll get a lot of verbal feedback, okay? I'm not talking just about from the players, I'm actually talking from the referee supervisors here. Players are very good, okay, at giving the feedback. Written feedback will be via the Volleyball Australia assessment form, okay? And that you have to supply. And to get that, you go to their website. What I might do is have a look at talking to the referee supervisors and seeing if they can have something that's electronic, can be downloaded or sent off to your one of your devices straight up from their phone or tablet onto yours. Okay, so we'll initially and primarily, it's up to you to provide that form. And level 2 referee candidates, everyone must be aware of this, will be encouraged to officiate matches outside of their division. So there are some level 2 referee candidates who are sitting in Division 3, who are down as nominated referees for particular clubs, and we'll be encouraging them to do Division 1. Now, in feedback there, we will be we'll be providing them with feedback, and the referee supervisor will be on hand to assist them and to encourage them. As a duty team, if you're one of these people who has to step back and act as a second referee to support a level 2 candidate, then we are, in our mind, we're putting forward a strong referee to support a lesser experienced referee. We go on to special rounds with the multicultural round. What date is that one? Thank you, David.
So that will be a multicultural round, guys, will be in round 4, if I'm right. It is, yeah, round 4, so Sunday, 22nd of May, which also coincides with the match of the day round at Nissan Arena as well. So just while we're on this on the topic of special rounds, I might just touch more on it maybe in the next few moments. But basically, the multicultural round, guys, will coincide with the match of the day round at Nissan Arena. Pride round will take place in round 6 across all the venues. Now, we do thank the clubs who have provided feedback in terms of what they'd like to see for both the multicultural round and the pride round. Overwhelming responses for multicultural round with things such as they look to get some clubs who have some really high allegiances to different ethnicities, backgrounds, those type of things, to do some performances in between time slots across different venues. That there is certainly exciting initiatives. Pride round, certainly important we embrace that, given that both of these themed rounds, this is again our normal time of doing this. So in terms of pride rounds, we're certainly looking to showcase that by captains wearing an armband, resemblance of pride rounds, similar to how that's been done in some other codes and leagues of late. In the way of the match of the day rounds, Shane, if you don't mind, I might just drive temporarily. Just give me one moment, guys. I'm just going to switch out the PowerPoint presentations. Mine's independent to Shane, so just hang about one second. Sorry, guys. Okay, guys, can everyone see this one? Just a thumbs up from someone will be fine. Guys, can everyone see the screen at the moment, which is titled Match of the Day rounds?
Nope.
Okay, how about now, guys? Is that better?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Apologies for the delay. So this is the recap, guys. This is obviously this features in the PVL calendar as well, which is available on both the PVL and JPVL web pages. But just as a recap for everyone, our first match of the day round will take place at Nissan Arena Sunday, 8th of May. Following that, we also have consecutive match of the day rounds. So round 2, round 3, round 4. You'll see there with Sunday, 22nd of May, got a little asterisk alongside it, which resembles the fact that it's also coinciding with multicultural round, as I mentioned earlier. And then round 11 is the final of the 4 match of the day rounds on Sunday, 31 of July. Massive thank you to Kent in particular, keeping the representation of men and female players even for both the rounds. I think it's been well received as well that we've got a high number of female rounds at Nissan Arena this season. So, as we did mention at the PVL General Technical meeting recently, not all Division 1 teams in men and women will get to have the opportunity to have a hit on the show court, so they will get first priority for next season. Hopefully, obviously, our intent is to get more rounds going forward. In the way of how it will look, so obviously, guys, this is just a snapshot of Nissan Arena. Obviously, we'll have the PVL matches on other divisions taking place on Nissan Arena, referred to as the community courts, so i.e. courts 1 through 7. There'll be ample opportunity for spectators to view the show court matches. For everyone's benefit, this was also again flagged at the technical meeting recently, but I'll just flag it again. In the draw, it features as it's highlighted yellow where the show court rounds are and who's playing on those particular dates. So it will actually stand out bleeding obvious, really, on the PVL draw. So we certainly encourage clubs to have a good look at that. In terms of presentation, guys, I thought this would be a good photo to show. Obviously, it's not set for volleyball, but just indulge me for a second. That screen down the far end, that will actually display the score of the match. So if there was anyone on the call who was part of 2019 AVL Nissan Arena, the Pirates v Canberra Heat round, that big screen was utilised for digital scoring. We've had a chat to Nissan Arena. They've been nice enough to help us out by displaying the score digitally on that screen. So I think they'll give everyone on the community courts a good opportunity to see what's going on as well. Outside of that, I can't stress this enough, particularly the fact that we're stepping into foreign territory with this, comes at high level of standard and a high level of presentation that comes with it. So what I mean by that is, first of all, Nissan Arena, for those of you who will be there, obviously the participants are always fortunate enough to have food and beverage offered. So if you know you're going to be playing on the show court and you have a duty after, highly, highly important. Cannot stress enough that you're well prepared for your duty, guys. We can't have on a live stream trying to hit a pretty wide audience of punters, 2 or 3 line judges trying to get their ducks in a row 30 seconds before a match, or a second ref trying to find the rotation slips, things such as that. Super critical. And this shouldn't be applicable to the show court. This should be for all courts, but make time your friend. So we're sticking with the same structure last year in the way of a few extra minutes between matches, the COVID clean, those type of things. So what we are ideally seeking is a duty team of 6 people. So 1 first ref, 1 second ref, 2 line judges, which obviously gets you to 4, 1 scorer to do the score sheet and the digital scoring, which is similar to the community court, but that will obviously feed through on the big screen. And then we also are requesting that your 6th duty member utilises the system that we will be bringing into the show court rounds, or match of the day rounds, which is called Sport Cam. For those of you who are not familiar, this is how Sport Cam looks. So Aces United are pretty consistent, pretty heavy users of Sport Cam. Aces United have used it. Elite Volleyball Club have used it. A couple of other clubs on the odd occasions throughout last year. Sport Cam is a fantastic feature. Obviously, just turning your attention to the far right of the screen, you can color code the teams. It obviously has first resembling what's set in the match, and then the time also resembling how many seconds/minutes have elapsed. That scoring is extremely transparent, easy to recover if an error is made. But what we are obviously requesting here is very much to help us help you. So for those particular teams who are fortunate enough to play on the show court and also be extending your responsibilities as a duty member, we do ask that the teams in their planning have a sixth duty member to take the lead on this. So as it stands, VQ is looking to basically provide the duty teams with a tripod, a tablet. They'll be made available on the score bench for them to collect, and we can help in the facilitation of setting it up. But after we've trialed a few scoring systems, SportCam we're very happy with, we're very comfortable with, and it's actually user-friendly as well. So what I might do, guys, I'll just quickly see if I can share another screen to give you an idea of how it actually looks in action. Just before I start, guys, can you see this as well? This is just a short video showing you how the scoring works using Aces United feed. Can everyone see this? Just bear with me, guys. I'll see if I can rearrange this screen share. Just one sec. Okay, guys, you got me now? Can I just get a thumbs up from someone? Sorry, guys, just so I can just have some clarity that we've got this featuring. Yep, excellent. Thank you, guys. So just before I hit play, obviously Aces are the team closest to us. They lead the match 3 points to 2 currently. We're just going to let it play out for a couple of rallies so people can see how transparent SportCam is. Okay, so obviously the time of hitting play on this, the score was 3-2 to APG. Aces played win the point 3-3. It is actually quite a simple feature to use, and one that we're really happy to use throughout the season. Guys, before I jump ahead to the multicultural and also the Pride round, just to give a little more of an update with that, did anyone have any questions regarding the day are looking to roll it out operationally? Has anyone got any questions around? Okay. Looking good. Okay.
Okay, one thing to add, David.
Yeah, mate.
And that for these showcase rounds, and just because it's live streaming and everything like that, we're not making any changes to the way you normally play in the PVL competition. There's no such thing as technical timeouts for special games that are being live streamed, and it's no longer in the rules anyway. Moving forward from the 1st of January this year, no more technical timeouts for indoor volleyball. Okay.
And just finally, guys, this is a bit of a unofficial promo for our themed round, so multicultural round and also our Pride round. So this is a bit of a recap. Multicultural round is PVL round 4. So Sunday, 22nd of May. Pride round will be on in round 6 on Sunday, 19th of June. So what we have done, as I was mentioning earlier, guys, we've got some feedback from all the clubs about how they'd like to roll this out. Going forward, VQ will obviously keep clubs in the loop by the Facebook page and our memo as to what we'll be offering in terms of the delivery. So Pride Round, for example, as we were mentioning earlier, captain armbands. I'll have armbands for Pride Round, flags, those type of things. We're working with Fine Designs to get some unique merchandise out to the punters who would be interested for that particular round. That also applies to multicultural round as well. Currently working with a couple of clubs to get to, with a view to get some performances happening across the 4 regular venues that we utilise for PVL. So my best advice to everyone is just to really stay up to date with latest updates on the following platforms: the PVL webpage in particular, the PVL memos, which are distributed and will continue to be distributed now every week, and then also the Volleyball Queensland Facebook page. So we're just finalising a few items in that particular space. That's certainly what we're looking to run with as rollouts to recognise each of these themed rounds. Before I throw back to Shane, did anyone have any questions of me? Okay.
Okay, lucky me. With some music. Okay. Just, it's something I'm going to bring up now while David and Kent's here, because the the Pride Round, if a referee is willing to wear something that sort of is allowed, celebrates the Pride Round as the chief referee, I'll forego that blue shirt thing as a requirement if they want to get into their technicolored rainbow shirts or whatever to sort of celebrate Pride Round, and they will still get paid just like that. Okay. Heard it here first. Executive decision. I haven't heard any dissent from the other two, so I'm moving forward. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Look, my thing is that you all have entered this workshop knowing the rules. I believe you know the rules. So my thing is just more about a bit of reminders, okay? And line judging. Line judges, as a first referee, can hang you out there to dry. And so it's very important, if you're the referee and you're responsible for your duty team, that your line judges are switched on. First, get them to assist you, not to insist. To have a line judge just hold up the flag and just really hold it out there, despite the fact that they're calling it out and you're calling the ball in because you overruled them. It's not the best look in the world, okay? So from a line judging point of view, as soon as that first referee swung out their arm to make that call, even if it's against your call, if you're the line judge, then you just drop the flag, okay? That's the best advice I can give any line judge, because once that call's out there and the referee's made up their mind and sent it, by the time a player turns around to question if I was the line judge, my flag being up, all they do is see me in a neutral position. So that way, the final decision rests with the first referee, and they've decided. But the other thing is, if you are the first referee, don't be so quick to throw out the arms. Be quick on the whistle to stop the players and stop them moving. But take just that second to have a look at your line judges, to see them call in the touch, to see them call in a ball hitting the antenna or going outside the antenna or something like that. Okay, just make that little bit of effort. Yeah. And as those pictures show, it doesn't take much. Okay, for the line judges, and this is the advice, like as first referees, you should be briefing your line judges quite regularly. I mean, you play with these guys and girls, but you know, like I said, every now and again they can leave you to hang and dry because they're switched off. They're getting ready to play the next game or they're tired from playing the game previously. So let them get themselves into a position so they can see that ball land or touch the antenna or whatever, and to sort of look down the line. So they've got to move. They're not just going to be staying in one position. Right? They're not static. They've got to be dynamic. They've got to move into position, particularly if you've got two. It doesn't matter whether you have 2 line judges or 4. Okay. And make sure that they are I'd say actively watching the end line during the serve. Okay. The way my son's feet's growing, I'm pretty sure he's going to be touching the end line before the end of the season. And you won't even realize it. The line judges, we don't want to see them with ice packs and ice taped to the, you know, with cellophane or whatever at the edge of the court. That's kind of dangerous. As you can see on the floor, even on those pictures there, a wee bit of water on that type of flooring. Next thing you know, you've got a major injury occurring. So just remove the particular cause for what could be an accident. With the line judges, you know, particularly in those showcase games, we don't want to see someone just wandering around in their ripped singlet and bare feet. Okay, at least look the part. I mean, they are going on there, so yeah. If you're a part of the showcase duty teams, especially, I don't know, have some pride in your club. Okay, and get your duty team to have some pride out there and show their colours. And we don't want to see people on their mobile phones or with the earbuds in there and things like that. So if I'm a player, I expect, you know, I'm giving it my all, particularly nowadays, given how old I am. I'm giving it my all on court, and you know, if somebody's not really paying attention and that ball lands pretty close to the line, I'm getting grumpy with my age, so I'd probably get a bit upset. I might say something sarcastic, but you know, show respect. Like it works the same way. If I'm the line judge, you know, I'm going to understand that the player is putting their effort in there. They've been training a lot harder than me, you know, to play. Then I've been training to do my line judging. So, you know, I want to give them the same respect. Second refereeing, I'm not getting too hung up on this because this is going to transition through. Essentially, position and transition, you know, those are the 2 things that really make or break second referees. Their position, if they're standing, leaning against the post, they're not going to see much, okay? So they've got to put themselves into a position there. So whether it be you being the second referee, or you have a second referee where from the referee stand, you can just barely see one shoulder coming out of the pad. They've got a post down right down where their nose should be and another shoulder sort of thing. Get them to get themselves into a position so they are looking at the receiving side all the time. So they're able to see the person dragging down the net, okay, or hitting the net on the way up during a block. And that's what that word transition is about. They've got to move. So they've got to watch the movement and always be on the defensive side. Okay. And it's not only for the net faults, it's for the penetration as well. Okay. Understanding, you know, when a foot is actually over the center line. Okay. Just because the foot is sitting above it doesn't mean that's a fault. So that rule's still in account. Second referee, if you're a second referee or you're second referee, you know, after a while, teams are pretty good at the substitutions. They get into a bit of a pattern. So it's about being aware of your substitutions. So from a referee's point of view, the second referee's point of view, that awareness means that you'll be a lot faster and you'll work with your scorer a lot better. Okay, and getting those subs on and off the court. I found that earlier this year. I was working with Jess Ryder from UQ out at some games in Churchie, you know, together we just worked well, just understanding the substitutions, and they were going so quick that we were almost pushing those kids out to get on court. They were that slow, So we got into our rhythm when we were a second referee, and that kind of worked quite well. Now, positional faults, being aware of positional faults, well, that really means understanding your rotation and checking those rotations at the start of the game and during every set, or the start of every set. And there is a new rule associated with the positional fault. Okay, so that we will discuss a little bit later, and it's all in relation to how the feet is set. Okay, rotational fault, understanding the difference, that's the one with the server. Okay, having the wrong server had a go. The other thing, second referees forget, if a scorer stuffs up or makes a mistake, it's actually a reflection on the second referee. Okay, so if we have the wrong server in play for a number of points, okay, that's as much the fault of the second referee as it is the scorer for not picking it up. And as a scorer or a second referee, you should roughly be aware. It doesn't mean the second referee is watching the scorer, watching the server. Okay, their job is to watch the receiving team, but it does mean that if those two don't work together, then you have all sorts of issues with rotations, and you have teams and you have game stoppages, which reflects poorly on the whole duty team. And if you're trying to help your first referee, let's say you're helping out one of those level 2 candidates who's coming up from third division or second division or something like that, and you're helping them. Okay, just be discreet. So don't hold your arm up there saying that's a double contact, okay, or that's a catch and throw sort of thing. Be a wee bit discreet there. Give them some support. That comes back to that position. Stand, if you're the second referee, on the losing side for that rally. Okay, from a first referee's point of view, if I see the second referee standing on the losing side, it just helps me cement my decision in my mind. It's the last box that I tick. Okay. From a first referee's point of view, after I blow the whistle, I've had a quick look at the line judges. I always sort of look towards the second referee. And that's my final thing. And that's before I throw out my arm and whatever the call is for what I've made. Apologies to Slavic for last year and having my son as the second referee, and I ignored him, and he was absolutely right. 4 hits, I missed it. Anyway, as a referee, I can admit my faults. Refereeing first reminders. Well, it's pretty simple. They demand consistency from the first referee all the time, okay, as a player. And to get that consistency, it comes back to you having the knowledge of that rules and understanding how to apply it. Some of the tips I'll give you, use that casebook that you can get off the FIVB website. Go through a couple of things every now and again. I'm not asking you to make it a bedtime story, okay? But just if you're struggling a little bit and understanding play on top of the net, okay? That's very important for the first referee to be aware of. That play on top of the net, it's very quick, it's very fast. You've got someone hitting the ball, someone blocking, or also trying to touch the top of the net because they're really trying to penetrate. With that block, if there's things there, well, the casebook might actually have a couple of things in play which will help you train your eye and get into it. Okay. Use the FIVB referee education portal or page. Go out to that site and go into there. And it's a free sort of service, and it just runs through scenarios. It has videos on there, it has questions. Some of them are poorly worded in English, but that's okay. That's part of the challenge. So get through that, work through it, and it gives you the answers at the end. Now, ball handling. Ball handling is the biggest thing that first referees get criticized on. So I'm just saying, judge the contact for that particular moment. You've got to see it. Your best thing there for training your eye is to focus in only a meter or two above the head of the person who's receiving the ball, particularly if they're the setter or they're about to make that overhand contact, such that your eye is already in the position where the ball will come into your field of view, make contact with that player's hand, and then leave. That will help you judge so much better the double contacts. You'll see even the little ones that you should ignore, the ones that only you and the whole world saw, or the big catch and throws, or even the small catch and throws. It's the same for those really slow center blockers, you know, the ones who like to do the slam dunk. You just focus your eye on where that ball's coming in to make contact with their hand, and you will get a better understanding of that one. So try throughout the season to train your eye to see more. But then, as a first referee, the other difficulty is when to blow the whistle. You don't want to blow a whistle on a minor contact that you were the only person who saw and it was just a smidge. Okay? So you've got to learn when to blow the whistle and when not to blow the whistle. Now, you've got to understand how to manage the unusual, particularly the second referee, but the unusual, it could be an injury on court. So if you take control and you show control in the game and things like this, that is about managing the unusual situations, okay? And it's also about how to manage people's emotions on court, when to use a sanction, when to use the whistle just to quiet them down, okay? About how to manage them with the rhythm of your game. Be consistent with the whistle. Don't get carried away where the game's getting excited, so you get quicker on your whistle and the length between, or the timing between the end of one rally and the beginning of the next is shorter and shorter. Okay, keep that consistent. Stick to your routine. Okay, have something that's in place. Understand how to manage the game. If you don't have any idea or something crops up, again, hit the referee supervisor or myself up or any of the experienced senior referees floating around. I'm sure one of us has come across it before, and if not, we'll find out. This is the one that most of you have been waiting for. There's a lot of modifications to the rule, okay? So what we've done is we've highlighted the ones that have been modified, the rules that have been modified the most. A lot of the other rule changes are due to these changes. Okay. The first one, allowing the libero to be either a team or a game captain. Okay. It's a pretty simple one. A lot of players, a lot of coaches internationally wanted this to come through. They didn't see why a libero could not be a game captain or the team captain. It just opens it up. It takes pressure off another player. There's no problem on that one. The rule change, considering further instead of closer for players, positions and position fault. What I've got is another 2 slides after this one that will show and explain that a wee bit more. So I'm not going to go into too much detail there, but that's related to the positional faults. Okay, where the players are in their starting positions when they're receiving the ball. Allowing the blocker to touch the ball in the space simultaneously with the attack hit has been removed there. So it's all about if the blocker reaches over and touches the ball before the attack hit, that is the fault. The word simultaneous has been removed from the rule. Okay, so if I went up there, and heaven forbid, you know, I was taking on someone like Macca, who's actually got a bit of a leap, and I actually got my arms above the thing, reached up, and as he was hitting the ball, simultaneously, I got my, reality would be I don't get one hand on that ball. At the same time he hit it, okay, that play would still go on. But if I reached over and I got it just before him, then I'll get called for a reach. Okay, so that's there. Exceptional substitutions. Okay, this is another sort of rule that has been changed or modified, I shall say, with sanctioning. So if any of you end up with having to give out the red and yellow together or even separately in two hands, okay, and you're sending a player off, what would be for the set or for the match, okay, the first chance they have is that they are allowed to substitute legally. If that legal sub isn't able, like let's say they for some reason had 6 players and 1 libero, we will allow that libero to become a normal player and make that an exceptional substitution. Or let's say you had 8 players and you had 6 on court and 1 of them gets disqualified and the other 2 have been used as substitutions for other people who are still there in the game, then you could make an exceptional substitution. This is to allow the game to still play, right? It's no longer about penalizing the team, the rest of the team, for the bad behavior of one individual. That one individual is going away. What used to happen too is when they were expelled from the set, they would go and sit in the chair next to the court and be there. Now that's no longer allowed. So what will happen if something like this happens, where a player is expelled or disqualified in the match for whatever behavior, the referee's supervisor will help remove that player from that court. That player won't even get to see the remaining thing. They'll just go sit in the office next to the venue manager and listen to them. Okay, yeah, and then the referee supervisor will bring them back if they're expelled, so they can take part in the next set. Or if they're disqualified, well, at least they'll see them get to the showers and get changed, and yeah, they won't be allowed back. Given what they may have done or things like that, people who are expelled or disqualified may end up in front of the control committee. And that's a real possibility or scenario for them. Now, another rule change or modification in the things is allowing players to go for the ball a lot more to encourage that spectacular play. So you can go for the scoring table. This was a little known sort of rule where it wasn't quite allowed, but over time, players are much more athletic. They're going for the ball, they're chasing it, they're much more committed. So let's keep it going. Is the change from FIVB. Now, as I said on the previous slide, this is the one that I feel there will be a wee bit of confusion moving forward throughout the season. Yeah. This is related to the positional faults. I mean, at the moment, what you have in front of you is just the picture of front row players in relation to the back row player. So as you can see, the back row player, they've got blue feet, and the front row player's got white. So in that first image, that's to your left of the screen, where one part of the foot is cut in half by that dashed line, one half of that blue foot. Okay, even though you can see the left foot of that back row player in front of the front row player, the fact that they've still got part of their foot behind the toe of that front forward leading foot of that front row player, that is still legal. The middle image in there, that shows that the front row player, their forward foot is in line with one part or the back part of that back row player's foot, right? The foot that's closest to that front row player. Doesn't matter if their left foot is up near the front of the net or anything like that. It's just the fact that that foot is still in line with that front row player. I'm only talking a centimetre or so. So that is still legal. What you have to do, and now have a look at the image right on the right, is you've got to see a clear amount of space between that back row player and that front row player on their back foot, or the foot closest from the back row player to the front leading foot of the front row player before it becomes a fault. This will allow a wee bit of flexibility, particularly for those players who are, say, the setter coming out of position 1, going past the player in position 2. However, if they show a bit of clear daylight, you're in the second referee's position, and you spot that, then you blow the whistle. Clear daylight for that back row player as they're starting, just blow the whistle. And that will be a fault. For the side, it pretty much goes on the same sort of thing. The side image here. Let's have a look at the front section, top, front, left, okay? Where you have blue feet, that is 1 foot closer to the sideline, okay? And the other one, other blue foot, I'll say it's the right blue foot, is in line with the position of the player who's in position 4. Okay, so center front. So we're going 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that center player, or the player who's in position 3, is fine, because even though their foot, their left foot, is closer to the sideline than the player in position 4, they still have a foot within the, for want of a better term, the shadow or the foot alignment of that player in position 4. Okay. Whereas if you just shut your eyes to that front court and go over to the right, in the box on the right, you can see that center player clearly. There is daylight between that player in position 3 and the player in position 4, therefore it's a fault. Okay. The same as what is at the back, in the back of the court, with the player who's in position 6 and the player in position 1. Okay, there is clear daylight in the image that's on your left, therefore a fault. Yet, and there is no clear fault, or it's still within alignment or anything like that for the image on your right for the player in position 1, 6, and 5. That would work the same if that was at the front. That's the one where your second referees, even though you are probably predominantly, most of you are the first referees for this competition. This is where things are going to get stuffed up or come unstuck for you if your second referees aren't aware of this rule. So you guys will have to communicate this to them, okay? Because if I'm a captain in a team, I make myself aware of this. And if you call me, I'll be questioning you. Right? It's a new rule. I'm going to question you. So make sure that your second referee is clearly aware of this rule change. Throughout the season, you may receive some complaint, or you may have an issue, or you may want to complain about something. You know, maybe a team just gave you a bit of a hard time. Maybe they just thought that you're inconsistent, for want of a better term. Ball handling could be improved on. Well, really, their ball handling could be improved on, but your calls for it could be improved on. Your first port of call, if you receive a I want you to go to the referee supervisor. They'll either help you resolve or work through it, or if it's serious enough, they'll elevate it to the next level. The next level will probably be me. Okay. If you have players who are abusive or offensive to you or anything like that through the game, please just inform us. I know we may not take it into a formal sense, but we will certainly manage it. Okay. And we will have a chat to the offending teams or the offending players. As a chief referee, okay, if that has been elevated to me by the referee supervisor, I will have a chat to you and I will have a chat to the offending players. I'm here to try and help you. Right? I'm a big believer in referees. You get out there, you put yourselves out into it and things like this. You're not there to be used and abused. Okay, not in that sense. You know, it's hard enough. And it's not like it's Volleyball Nations League or anything like that, or $1 million prize money. But I do understand emotion, and I do understand what it's like to be human and in the stand and to be criticized. So you'll probably have a lot of empathy. If you don't feel that you can, the referee supervisor who don't have a relationship, you can't find them, or this came to you a little bit later and you stewed on it for a while, contact me. Let me know. Have a chat. Okay. Ask the question, and I'll see if I can get through it. There is, if a player has been abusive to any official, be it a line judge or a second ref, first referee, we do have the members' complaint process. If we believe that it is unwarranted of the control committee, we will go straight to the members' complaint process. And then we will go, part of the options there is that all parties will be fronting a tribunal. And that has already occurred, and it's occurred historically, and we've already had one this year. So, you know, we do have that process in play. It is about protecting you, and we will get this resolved. We won't put you in a situation where you are uncomfortable. And right. Now, I know I ran through the summary of the rule changes, but a lot of the rule changes that are in the document that FIVB have put out there, just more changing to the text to reflect those rule modifications that I went back to. So does anyone have any questions? I don't mind if you type it or you say it.
One might come through the chat.
Chat. Oh, yep, Russ. Shane, please reinforce that for new and contentious rules such as positional fault. The first referee must be able to explain the reason for the fault only using FIVB terminology. It's important for referees to know how the rule is worded to explain their decision otherwise. Yeah. Okay, so what Russ has brought up there is actually understanding how to do referee speak. Okay, it's a skill. It's a very good point that you raised there, Russell. And I mean, I will admit that I am simplifying it for the sake of this presentation. It is expected that you, ladies and gentlemen, will have at least reviewed the rules for 2022 moving forward. And if you don't have the time, at least have a look at the rule modification document. If you can't find it on the VQ website, you can go to the Volleyball Australia website, or you can go to the FIVB website. Just look at the one for indoor if you want. If you're interested, there's one for beach. But really, what it does is it shows you what the old rule was in the text of the rule book and what the new wording is, and it highlights in red the changes. So in summary, let's go back. Right, these are the rule changes, the main ones that impact us. Liberos, captain, positional faults, that's that rule change, the second bullet point. Allowing the blocker to touch the ball simultaneous. People who are expelled or disqualified can be substituted, and allowing more freedom for players to chase the ball when it's coming over towards the scorer's table, okay, which would have been an automatic out in the old rules. Do I have other notes? Yep, that was basically the main rule modifications. Everything else in the that FIVB rule modification text is just changing rules to suit these changes, and related to international events where they have challenge referees and the like. And we don't have that, so not relevant for this discussion. Okay. Again, I throw it back to you people. Have you got any questions? Oh, there's another chat. Could I quickly just go over positional faults again? Just for you, Ben. Not a problem. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll just do it and I'll talk to these. Basically, you look at that blue feet and that as a back row player. If it is any part of their feet, all right, the blue feet, the back row player is in line or behind, you know, within the shadow, I'm going to call it, of the front row player, then that is not a fault. There has to be clear daylight between the back row player and that front row player in relation to there being a fault. So that back row player on the far right, that diagram, is closer to the net than that front row player. Okay, that could be position 5 and 6. I mean 5 and 4, where that blue feet on the right is in position 5, and that front row player is in position 4, and where that arrow is pointing, well, that's the net. Okay, so it has to be clear daylight. You have to see that as a second referee. Works the same way in line with the positioning in relation to the sideline. Okay, so if that center player, okay, be they in position 3 or position 6, their feet has clear daylight, both feet, okay, has clear daylight, closest to the sideline than the player that's beside them, then that's a fault. Okay, so for the diagram that is to the right, where we're looking at a position front row, where that C represents the position, position 3, a player in position 3, and the one who's got the L for the fault is the player who represents that position in position 4, clear daylight. Okay. Any part of his foot in line with that person in position 4, it's not a fault. Does that help you, Ben? Yep, makes sense now. Okay, see, by explaining it, even I understand the rule a wee bit better. It's good. Okay. Hey, I don't mind putting myself down a little. It's okay. I'm learning. Okay, anyone else?
Might have another one there, mate.
Ah, thank you. I don't mind that. Thank you, Andrew. Yes, horrible diagrams. Okay. Anyone else got a question? Okay, what I might do is I might turn things back towards good David. And by all means, if something comes up and pops into your head in the next couple of weeks and that, by all means, get to me. Okay. Most likely, yep. Yeah, I agree with your question, Andrew. Yes, yes. And I agree with Oliver's.
Okay, guys, thank you, Shane, for facilitating tonight, mate. Outstanding presentation and great to keep everyone up to date with the latest movements, FIVB and PVL. Good that everyone on the call has made a great effort tonight of being a part of this. So thank you to everyone. Just a couple of key reminders, guys. The link for this, the Qualified Refs workshop will go out tomorrow morning. In case you missed it, the audio link for those who were unable to be part of the PVL score sheet webinar, that went out on the Facebook page, as in the VQ Facebook page earlier today also. So there's a couple of key reminders. I'll work alongside with Shane. A memo will come out. Not going to lie, guys, no, at times they can be wordy, but there's some pretty bloody good info in there too if you do have a thorough read. Today I got asked about 6 questions from a particular person. I won't name drop, not that type of guy, but quite literally every question that was asked was as answered in my most recent memo regarding the draw. So can't stress it enough. We do our best to not feed you dribs and drabs info. We don't see much benefit out of that. Prefer to do a bit of a, once or twice a week with some key updates. The onus is on clubs to share it, to actually read it, and hit me up if you've got questions, issues, concerns, whatever. So that's certainly where we stand. Very much to help us help you. We don't want to be issuing fines. We don't want to be doing all these things, but it's a two-way street as well. So I really hoping that we can all unite, pull hard together, and have a very successful season. So yeah, again, guys, this link will go out tomorrow morning. We thank you again for your time, and we look forward to seeing most of you, no doubt, this Sunday. So thank you all for being on the call. Ben Lee, how does a free zone work to showcase court?
Okay, well, Ben, that will be defined when the court gets laid out on there, but by standard it will be the minimum sort of set out into the rule book, which is 2 meters. Okay, along the sidelines and private being the service.
Sorry, Shane, I have a question.
Yes.
It's has nothing to do with what you've talked about on the thingamajig tonight, but you know, on the score sheet, do you know on the score sheet, new juniors are coming through, and even some seniors, when they do the score sheet, what is the proper way to mark the receiving side? Is it an X or is it a slash? Because whenever I correct them with putting an X, they say that they've been taught to put a slash. So I'm not sure where this is coming from, and I just want to understand for myself, is it a slash or is it an X now?
Linda, it's just an X.
Yeah.
X
Okay,
marks the
great.
spot.
All right, thank you.
That's the simplest answer. That was the easiest question we've had all day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, also I'd like to mention too that despite there being referee supervisors at the venues this weekend, I will be wandering around all the venues, okay, and traveling through, one, to answer your questions, help you guys out, and to sort of support those referee supervisors, okay? Have car, will travel.
All right, excellent, guys. Thank you again for your efforts tonight. Stay safe. You've got your last couple of training sessions coming up. Go hard, and we'll see you Sunday. Best of luck for the season, everyone.